Hello. Hey, it's Jesus Castillo from Ruby Guides, and this live stream. Today is Sunday, the 26th of April, 2020. So yeah, that's live. And this not structure, we thought structure a specific theme. So if you are looking for something specific to learn about a specific concept or topic, then I have a lot of videos, other videos you can watch. If you just want to chat with me or just work on whatever related to programming and the kinds of things that I do, then you can stay here and you can type in the chat. We will read in the chat from time to time and try to answer your questions and interact with you. Okay? So if you are new here, my name is Jesus Castelló. I'm from Spain, and I like to teach Ruby. I have this website. It's called rubyguides.com, and it has over 100 Ruby tutorials, which you can find if you go to the bottom of the site. There is this link that says all post. Okay, so a lot of people miss this because like one of multiple links and it's on the bottom of the page. But if you go here, you find a list of all of these articles that I have available. All of these are for free, and of course I also have my book, which you can buy and support my work and improve your Ruby skills. I also have these beginners tutorials. If you're just getting started, then you can go over this beginner tutorial. I will show you the basics of Ruby programming. So there's Ruby and there's Ruby on Rails, right? Ruby on Rails is the framework that allows you to build web applications, full stack web applications. That means that you do the front end. So everything the user sees, the design, the content, that's the front end. And you can also do in the same with the same code and the same project, the same code base. You can also do the backend. The backend is everything that has to do with the logic of the application, right? Making decisions and working with the database, right? All of these things, access control, who can access this page or that page, authentication, who is this or who is that? Is this an administrator? Is this a new user? Is this a guest? All of these things happen in what we call the back end, right? That's all of the logic of the application. And then we have the front end, which is what you see, right? That will be the styling. Is this font white? Is this font black? Is this font bold? Is this a link? Is this an image? All of that is the design, the front end of the application. And that involves a combination of HTML, CSS, just JavaScript. We can also help with something called ERB, which stands for Embedded Ruby. Okay, so that's ERB. Okay, so ERB is Embedded Ruby, and that allows you to create loops that will bring like list of data, list of items, things like, for example, there's a list of all of the articles that are on this site. So that's what I mean by list, right? You can do that using IRB and templates and a lot of things. If you're not familiar with that, I'm just mentioning it. So when it comes time to learn it, oh yes, I heard this before, because that's one of the things that I think helps you learn is this I heard or I seen this before effect. Because when you're learning something new, you might see a lot of new concepts, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new vocabulary. Okay. By the way, have Ruby glossary as well. Ruby glossary. And here are terms defined, because there are a lot of terms, especially if you don't have a background in technology and programming. There are a lot of terms. It can feel a bit overwhelming, right? Finding all of these new terms. So one of the things that I think helps is to get exposure, to get familiar with these terms. Just seeing the terms over and over again, it will create this sense of familiarity with the topic, even if you don't exactly remember what these terms mean. This became really clear to me as I have been learning some anatomy and physiology and some chemistry, some science, right? Because I also like this kind of stuff. I like knowing how the body works. I don't like relying too much on doctors or on other people to tell me how things work. Like I feel very responsible for my own health and everything. I think that that's a good thing, as long as you don't take it to an extreme, right? You don't want to become so paranoid. You want to become responsible in the sense that you are able to respond to things in a clear with wisdom, right? And to do that, you need the knowledge. That's why I also like to study other topics besides programming, because I also been doing programming for many years. It also helps mixing some other topics. So as I've been watching some videos, some lectures on anatomy and things like that, there are a lot of terms. Probably more than in programming even, lots and lots of terms of different body systems and processes, chemistry reactions and biology, all of these things. There are a lot of terms, and if you are thrown into all of these terms, you get overwhelmed. You say, oh, I don't know all of these terms. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And that can make you feel overwhelmed. I feel that it was as I been learning these new topics and new terms, right? But as you repeat, if you get constant and repeat exposure, meaning you see these terms over and over again, they start feeling less strange because you have seen them before. So this effect, I think, makes a really big part of learning, right? This exposure, continuous repeated exposures to the terms. Now, when you are familiar with the terms, and you have seen them multiple times, then you are more open to learning what it is. In fact, it creates a curiosity within you. Creates like a curiosity effect. Oh, yeah, I have seen this ORM term multiple times, but I'm not sure what it means. Well, I'm going to look that up. Now that you are curious, you want to know, right? You want to know what it means. So you will be interested, and you will put more effort, and you will be more motivated into learning what a term means. Not only what it means, it's also important to know what is it useful for, right? How to use it, how to apply it. So there are different things. And how is it related to other things? So there is this concept called sameness and differentiation, where you look, how is this different? Any of these terms, how is this different than this other term? And not only how is it different, how is it related, right? Understanding the sameness and the difference, which right away I learned this sameness and difference idea or topic or technique from someone called Eben Pagan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Eben Pagan is written. He's a very smart person, and he teaches a lot of interesting concepts. I learned this sameness and differentiation from him. In fact, I have a book from him called Opportunity, and he teaches these kind of concepts. I find them very helpful. So this sameness and difference, it can be used for understanding, can be used for learning, right? And you can also ask questions for learning. You can ask, what does HTTP mean? How can you use it? Who uses? What are some examples? What are different definitions? Here is another thing I learned from Evan. Is you want at least 3 different definitions from one word. So if you take HTTP, you might find, or some other term, find 3 different definitions for the same term. Maybe just explain in different ways. It doesn't have to be different meanings, which sometimes it can be, but different ways, 3 different ways to explain the same thing. What does that do? Well, what that is, it helps you give a more rounded, more complete understanding of that topic. Okay? So, welcome. You just come in. I'm live streaming this. I'm just talking about learning and some tips you might find helpful. If you've had questions about learning, about Ruby, Ruby Rails, programming, all of these things, feel free to type on the chat, and we're happy to answer them for you. Or you say hi. You say hi, or say where you're from, or where you are in your learning journey. I will be reading your comments. Okay. So thanks for watching. By the way, if you want to learn more, you can go to rubyguides.com. rubyguides.com. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And thank you for your support if you are a common reader of mine. A long time reader or watcher of these videos. I have both the videos and the blog. So enough about me and my stuff. Let's keep talking about you, how you can keep learning. Another thing, you can also ask critical thinking kind of questions, right? So critical thinking is not that fancy. It's just asking questions to learn more. Like, where did HTTP come from? Who invented it? What are some reliable sources of information about HTTP? If it's some other statement, you can ask, what is the evidence behind that supports that statement? Right? How do we know if that's true or if not true? What assumptions are we making? Especially when you're problem solving, or when you're solving some kind of problem in general, or you just want to know something more deeply, you can ask these questions. You don't want to make too many assumptions. Sometimes you think, oh, that must be true. Maybe you don't actually think that, but it's something like subconscious, right? Yeah. So you might to make sure to bring out what the assumptions are, what are the unknowns, right? What you don't know about something, all of that. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful. Just talk, remember this kind of own structure I'm just talking about as I'm thinking about it and as you're asking questions. Okay, so there is that. Now we can do a few things. For example, I was thinking we can do some basic parsing exercise. So we can have a URL, and I will explain what this is in a moment. So I can have my URL like, or just any other URL, Ruby Guides, well, we don't need the www.com/ let's say we have something like this. Maybe we have an about and then this question mark, test, something like that. So I'll explain what this is. So this is a URL, as you might know. URL has different parts or sections. So we have this, which is called the protocol. Actually, this can be different. It can be HTTP, can be FTP, even SSH, can be different things. Then we have what's called the domain. The domain is all of this. Then we have the top level domain, and this part is .com, .org, right? .edu, .s for Spain, or .us, whatever, right? We have those, and then we have the path, which it refers to a specific page within your website. Finally, we have what's called the query string. The query string, and this is where you can send additional information. This could be like the language. Maybe you want to set the language like this. This one way of the many ways to set the language. Or more often you will see this in Google, for example, you're making a search, or when filtering, if you want to filter for something, right? Or this could be search. We are searching for something, chocolate, right? Coffee. So that's what a query string is. This is called a query string, right? Yeah, and that's optional part of the URL. Okay, so why I'm bringing this up? Well, it's helpful to know the different parts of a URL. It's also good to know, let's do something like that, although that page doesn't exist, or maybe it does. Let's search for cats, for example, or guide, or whatever, classes, OP for object-oriented programming, something, right? It's good to know these different parts of the URL. What I want to do is a little exercise called parsing, like this, parsing. What is parsing? Well, parsing is breaking down this URL into different meaningful pieces. Parsing is breaking down not just this URL, but any string or any data contained in a string. We break it down into meaningful parts or pieces. Breaking down data into meaningful parts or pieces. That's what parsing is, right? How do you do that? Well, there are different ways to do this, of course. You can do typical method to do this, use split. Split breaks down the string based on a separator character. So if we had a string like A, B, C, we can split this by the comma, and then we get ABC, right? So that's what split is for. It's very helpful. If you use split without any arguments, we split by default by spaces, like empty spaces like that, right? So that's one very basic ways to do some parsing. But in this case, you will see there is no fixed separator for all of the elements. We have the protocol, we have the domain, we have the path, and the search query. All of these are separated by different things, right? Here we have this // colon. Here we have only one // Here we have a question mark. All of these are different separators. So split might not be the best the best option for us. We could use it still, right? Something like we can do all of the separators individually, right? Like that. Then we get the protocol, then we can get the domain, right? But that's not ideal because the URL might be missing parts. Maybe because some parts are optional, like the query string, then it's not ideal. So another thing you can do, next step, is to do something that's called regular expressions, right? I explain this in a lot of detail in my book, but here's a quick little introduction. Okay. Hello. So hello, Shay blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Is that your real name? Well, if it is, okay. Bang bang. Hello. Where are you from? Let me know in the comments. I'm from Spain, by the way. So the URL, we can use a method like scan, and that allows you to break down this URL into pieces. Okay, that's what we call parsing right here. Okay, how can you do that? Well, regular expression looks something like this. That already gives us some pieces like this. This means word. So this is a list of characters, one after the other, like that. It's words. This we find words and break down words. But we want something more advanced than that. We want our word. Hold on. Here we have a little problem, is that the forward slash is part of the regular expression syntax. So we can do something called escaping. Escaping means we turn a special character into a regular character. And we can do that with a backslash, like that. Okay? So that gives us one part, and then we can do the next part. And another thing to do is put this in parentheses, and that we do what's called a capture group, so we can differentiate this from the rest. Okay? Next, we want to get the domain. The domain looks like that. So that's a word, right? Plus a dot, and the dot has special meaning, so we have to escape it, plus another word. And now we get the protocol and the domain. Now, the domain, the protocol, maybe we don't want the colon and the other stuff, so we can do it like this. There we go. You see, we are parsing the string. In fact, we can give names to this part, and there are different ways to do that. One way is to use variables. Okay, so we can do protocol, then domain equals, and there we go, protocol. Oops, that didn't quite work as expected. Let me do this. Protocol. Okay, that's quite interesting. Let's do this. Protocol. Oops. There we go. Okay. So the thing is, I was getting this nest array, like array inside array, to be able to assign it like this like kind of parallel assignment. I need to first get the first this nested array. Okay, so there we go with that. Next step, we can do, what's next? The path. So we can get the path by looking at what the path looks like. So we know it's like / and we have to escape that. Why? Because it has special meaning, and escaping remove the special meaning. That's easy. So the next step, we need to look at our string that we are parsing and look at the search. So that's just a word. So that's /w plus. As you're seeing, I'm slowly building this regular expression. And what a regular expression is a pattern matching engine. It's like a pattern matching language. It's an engine, but it's always the way we use it is this kind of language where we say, okay, I want a word, then I want these characters, then I want another word, and I want a dot between these two words, which is what this is. And then before the next word, which is our path, I want another / this is a / and this is how we escape it to remove the special meaning inside the regular expression syntax. So I hope that's making sense. Let me know. Okay, we have some comments. Joseph Jones, hello from Chicago. Oh, hello. How are you doing, Joseph? I think you were here in my in the last live stream. So welcome back. It's good to have you here. So we keep going by want to read more comments. So we have SQ34KY2. Sorry, but these are complicated names. I'm looking at the comments on another screen. If you can see the comments, I can see the line from you're typing on the text in the area which the screen cutter. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I will see what I can do about that. How about that? More comments, sorry. So we have China, Regundar, last line stream. Yeah, you're correct. Is that better now? Let me know. Last line. Hello. I like doing this. Hello. Hello, YouTube. Yes, let me capitalize that so we don't get any. How about that? You see that? Well, okay, more comments. Yes, better now. I can see the last line. Okay, thank you for your feedback. And we have Angel Smithzak. I hope I said that correctly. Hello from Buenos Aires. Welcome. How is it? How are you doing there in Buenos Aires? Are you in lockdown or how are things going? Okay, so there is that. So let's quickly review what we have done. So we have a URL, and we covered that a URL has different sections, right? It has this part which we call the protocol. Usually you will see HTTPS. What's that? Well, HTTP is the protocol that we use in the web for website. It means hypertext protocol thing. And the S stands for secure, okay? So that comes from something called SSL. You might be familiar with that. And SSL means Secure Sockets Layer. I told you there is a lot of terms in here. Then we have the domain, right? Domain name with top-level-domain.com. And then we have the path, which is the specific pages. This might be users, it might be about page, it might be the search, it might be login, logout, whatever. And then we have this part called the query string. Query strings it's called a query string because we have this query, this question mark symbol, and this can look like this. It can have multiple elements, right? And the elements are separated by a ampersand, like this, right? And you can say A1 and B2. All of this the query string. Okay. So how do we, and where there is something called parsing, which allows you to extract the parts out of this protocol. All of these, hold on. Out of this URL. Okay. And I believe there is something that does this for you, but I want to show you how you can actually do this by yourself. It's URI, I think it is. URI parse. Can we do that? Let's find out. URI. Yeah, I think that works, bro. Oh, that's a lot of things. Protocol. Okay. I see it there. That's interesting. So we have this class. So it already recognizes it as HTTPS. And it should have some methods. So instance, or we can do this because I am bright. I think we can do this. Or not. Let's do instance methods false. Okay, it's not going to collaborate much. How about use methods? No? Okay, whatever. I guess we will have to go into RubyDoc or something, or DevDocs. Yeah. I'm going to here, Jury. Here we can, okay, scheme, host, path. Yeah, let's try that query. There we go. That's our query string, right? Have the path. There it is, the path, right? So you can use it if you're going to use for production. You probably want to use this, which is part of Ruby itself, of the Ruby standard library. You can see it's using a regular expression, right? I think we can see that. Let's see. Okay, can we see it? Constant pattern. Let's see pattern. Okay, constant. Whoa. Okay, that's a lot. Host name. Well, there it goes. That's a very. You don't need to understand this because it's already doing it for you. But basically, this regular expression just like this one I was building right here, right? So these regular expressions are always built step by step, just like complete Ruby programs are built step by step. By step, I mean you first do this part, then this other part, then this other part, and then you build on top of the other parts, right? So there is that. So yeah, that gives us the path and if we want the forward slash as part of the thing, there it goes. See? So that's how you can manually parse. This how you can use the better way, we could say, because more complete, more tested, right? But it's good to understand how things work, how these things work. Okay, any questions so far or things you want me to look at? URI, library can parse URLs. Yes. Hi, Scar, thanks. Yeah, thank you for watching. And please, can you click the like button for me if you like this? So I know that you like it. Okay, thank you. And if you're new here, let me know where you're from and why are you interested in Ruby? What kind of projects are you working with? Do you need any help? Do you have any questions about Ruby? Let me know. I'm here live for you if you need some help right now. Just as a quick reminder, I have my website rubyguides.com where you will find my newsletter, my Ruby book, and a lot of content that you can go over, especially if you are on lockdown or you don't know what to do. Well, in here you have a lot of learning. And remember this concept, you feel, that's for the newsletter. If you feel, this is also for the newsletter, if you feel overwhelmed, remember this concept I talked about at the start. It's normal whenever you're learning anything, whether it's programming, whether it's science, anatomy, chemistry, anything. When you find a lot of new concepts and ideas, you find, oh well, I don't know this. But when you find the same concept over and over again, it becomes familiar, and to achieve what they call like a saturation, right? You might heard this saturation concept when you feel something too much, becomes saturated, right? You can't feel it anymore. That's kind of what happens when you hear the same term again. You get a point where it becomes so familiar that you get curious about how it works, how it learns, and then you do all of the research, because learning is a lot of work. Don't get anyway fool you or trick you into thinking that learning is easy. It takes a lot of work, so set your expectations right? It takes work to learn, but don't let that keep you from learning, because I think it's worth it if you enjoy this and if you are on a path of self-improvement and personal growth, which I think is very important in these times that we are right now. Okay, if there are no questions I have covered so far, or about Ruby in general, or anything that you want to talk about, then I'm going to cover another web development basics. Okay, we have something in the chat. Let me read the chat. I'm reading the chat right now. It says Scook34K2 says, I'm from India. Oh, welcome. Hello. Have been interested in Ruby for many years. However, work with CF in my day job. What's CF? Is that Cold Fusion? Is that correct? Let me know. Or what is it? Now we see another comment coming in from Derek Amenu. Hello from Ghana. Hello. Who are you? Derek. By the way, I look at the comments on another screen, so if you're not seeing the comments, that's why. They are on a different screen, but I'm reading them, okay? And so yeah, I'm going to cover some CSS basics, because I have been reviewing some CSS. There is some meme from, I typically am not much of a meme person, but there is one I like from The Simpsons, where you see Homer pulling down on like in the levels of a curtain. And so CSS is like this, and say like it's kind of crazy, and you don't really know what's going on, right? So that's kind of funny. I don't want to put it on the stream because I don't know if for copyright stuff. But you can find, if you find like Simpson CSS, something like that, you will find that meme if you like that kind of stuff. Okay. So CSS basics, I just want to cover the basics because it's important to have a base if you want to build good websites, right? And you do the full stack. So that's meaning that you do the design, you do the logic, right? We have another question. Is Quickie 2? I'm going to call you Quickie 2 for now, unless you have a better name for me. CF, Adobe, Confusion. Yes, that dinosaur. Yes, I think that's kind of old. Yeah. So, how come you're working with that? Is it hard to work with that? Is it still an update, or is it considered like obsolete right now? Is Adobe still updating Confusion? Just curious about that. So we have, yes, my house is supposed to be pronounced Quickie too. Oh, that's good. So Ruby's seen less adoption companies, less days, still being updated. Okay. Is there a particular reason why the company is using Confusion, or it's just like a legacy application? The new version is supposed to be 2020. Okay. So to your other questions, I'm reading comments again on another screen. It says Ruby seeing less adoption companies less days. I can see the number of jobs going down every month. Well, the thing about that is these people like new stuff, right? It's like kind of part of human nature, like in chasing new stuff, chasing like the latest. That's kind of part of human nature, but there is still a big part of people that really enjoy Ruby and don't really care about chasing the newest and latest, right? Because I think Ruby is very enjoyable to work with. A lot of people also think that. And there's a lot of Rails applications that need to be updated, need to be maintained. So I think there is plenty of work, and Ruby is still very active. So I think it has many years to go. In fact, C is very old programming language, it's still around. PHP is still around, and PHP is a pain to work with. If you ever work with PHP, it's a pain to work with. But still around. Why? Because WordPress has millions and millions. In fact, my site is in WordPress for convenience, mostly. Has millions of installs and is built in PHP. It will be massive work to change it to another language, so it's not worth to change it, to do a rewrite, right? Usually rewrites, for my understanding, they're not a good idea. Okay, so yeah, I think it has a long time to keep working. In fact, you yourself are working with Confusion, which is probably a lot older than Rails. A lot of people don't like it. But Ruby has the advantage still being developed, still active, and from the core team standpoint for development, you can go to GitHub and see that there are a lot of commits for both Rails core, the programming language interpreter, even JRuby, Ruby on Rails, all of the main projects are very active still. You can check that yourself, right? And there are also active conference. If it wasn't for the situation we are right now, you could find a lot of conferences to attend in person, right? So it looks like it's still very active. It's just like because of this part of human nature that it might be slightly less work available. But also here is something that a lot of people are not talking about, okay? That thing is that you can freelance as a Rails developer, and a lot of people that hire freelancers, if it's for a new project, they probably, if they don't have technical knowledge, they probably don't care what you're going to use, right? So you can use whatever, and you can use Ruby and Rails, because if you're hired as a freelancer or consulting or something in a new project, then you are the technical lead, and then you can choose what language, what database, what technology you're going to use. So a lot of people don't think about that. Okay, so it's not only job offers out there, is work that you can create by offering yourself as a freelancer. Okay. Also, bigger companies employ or use different programming languages. Not like you can only use Ruby or you can only use JavaScript, right? There's also that to keep in mind. Okay. So yeah, let's see. Is it a legacy application has been worked on for decades? Okay. Yeah. Definitely more active than ColdFusion. Yeah, for sure. People absolutely hate ColdFusion. It has two different syntaxes. Yeah. Original tag-based syntax and new JavaScript light script-based syntax that doesn't support all features of tag-based syntax. Yeah, I guess that was some attempt to rewrite it or something like that. I don't know the details. Okay. Yeah, that happens sometimes, especially if it's all old. It happens a lot with banking and things like that. There are banking applications using very old things like COBOL or Pascal or very old language, ancient language, and language that very little people like, but because these applications are very old and very sensible to change, right? Then they're not evolved to newer technologies. Okay. So there is that. On here I was playing the other day with some HTML and some JavaScript, talking about other languages. And JavaScript is also a bit of a mess. Because look what's necessary just to do a simple operation and to do min. You have to say math min. You can't just say min on the array like you can in Ruby. So in Ruby, you can do like, you have two numbers, you can do min like that. In JavaScript, you have to do math.min and then have the stuff, right? It's also less discoverability, because to find out about this min in Ruby, you can just find out the methods for the array, right? You can just look up the methods for this array and you will find min and max and min max and size and length and many other methods are available. That's one of the things I really like from Ruby. It's very consistent in this sense. You can very discoverable, hope that's a word. You can easily find what can you do with a given object. It's very easy to find what's possible. But with other languages have this problem. They are not as consistent because they are not built with this object-oriented mindset. And then you have to look, okay, is there a mean? If there is a mean, okay, well, it's in this math model for some reason, okay? And then you have to remember, okay, I have to use mean, I need this math model, whatever, I have to search it every time because no, it has low. This is hard to find, right? So yeah, I think other languages also have this problem. Many other languages. But Ruby in general doesn't have it. There's also a math module in Ruby, but it's for other things like square root, right? So yeah, this code, it creates a progress bar in JavaScript. So you want to see what it looks like. So it's this, has this button, can press it and increases up to 100%. That's why I have the min, because I want to go up to 100% of the size. And here I just have some CSS. Okay. So we have some more comments from Quickie too. It was, again, I'm reading comments on another screen. It was originally written in C++ when Larry owned CF. Okay. The Macromedia bought it and rewrote it in Java. So CF today is based on Java underlying base. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. If you have questions or Ruby, you're working on something, you just want to say hi and chat with me live right here. Just feel free to type in the chat feature, in the chat of this live stream, and we can talk, we can chat a bit. Okay, don't be shy. Just say hi, I'm from whatever. For example, I'm from Spain, which is the case for me. We're still on lockdown here, if you're wondering. I think that's going to end at some point. Everything starts and ends, right? You probably noticed that. So, and one great way to distract yourself is not to watch the news, but to learn Ruby. Also, you are going to build some useful skills. Okay, so what do we have here? I'm going to cover, if there are no questions, I'm going to cover CSS basics. So what is CSS? CSS is something that you can use to create the design of your website. So CSS says things like, okay, I want this text to be red. I want this image to have a specific width and height. I want this to be underlined. I want this to be a button. I want this to be a square. I want this to be a circle, or a triangle or whatever. I want this background to be white. I want this background to be blue. All of these attributes or properties. Or I want this border. See this black border, and there is also a little shadow, right? Well, all of these are defined with CSS. One thing you can do to actually see this CSS, so it becomes very tangible when you actually see it, is you can right click on any element like this, and then you say inspect element, right? It's available in most modern browsers. I think in Safari you have to enable it in the settings. For Chrome, Firefox, probably Opera too, if anyone uses that. You can right click any element, then go to inspect element. What does this do? Well, it opens up this panel, right? And this panel allows you to see the HTML for the element you have selected. And then in here you can see the CSS. So HTML defines what things we have, and the CSS defines how these things look. Okay, the HTML, what things you have in the page, what elements. Do we have a paragraph? Do we have a headline? Do you have a section of data? Do you have an image? Do you have a link? All of this is HTML. What do we have, right? CSS is how it looks. How does it look? That's CSS. So I hope that's clear enough. If you need clarification, feel free to type questions in the chat, which I will be looking from time to time. So in here we can see that there are these attributes which says things like align the text to the center, or have a width of 100%, or have a minimum height of 10%. Okay? There's also things like font. What font are we using? I'm using the Open Sans font. All of these are things that you can define as with CSS. So we can do some basic CSS example here. We can do H1, which is a heading. We can do test. And if I do HTML preview, this is the Atom editor, if you're wondering. And you can get it from Atom.io. It's an editor made by GitHub. Okay? You see that this is what this looks like. Then we have a paragraph. Hello, YouTube. This is a live stream about Ruby and web development and learning and all kinds of fun stuff. Development. Okay, let's say we want this text to be bigger. Well, we can do a style block to define CSS, and then we can target. We can target this specific element, and we target elements within the web page using selectors. So this right here that I have highlighted is called a selector. Why? Because we're selecting or we're targeting the element on the page that we want to change or style, right? So for example, I can change the size and make this big. And that's how you do this. We define the size of the text in px, which means pixels. Px means pixels. Okay? And this can be extra big or smaller, whatever size you want. We can also define all kinds of things. We can give margin. So margin, we do that if we add a margin to the text, like that. Okay? We can do color. We can change the color, silver, or any other color you want. You can define colors in what's called the RGB format. RGB format. What's that? Well, it means red, green, blue. Red, green, blue. Red, green, blue. And it looks like this. We can say FF0011, for example. That's what we call RGB. So this is a combination of hexadecimal, meaning 16. Hexa means 16. And this allows you to choose the color. You can find a color chooser. As you can see here, color picker, like this. It gives you the numbers for RGB. Okay, so every combination of colors possible has a specific RGB number that you can pick. I will result in that color. Okay. There is also transparency. You can do transparency if you want. That's the fourth argument of this RGB. It kind of looks like a function, right? Or a method. Fourth is arguments, is the colors, red. How much red do you want? How much blue do you want? How much green do you want? And this is the transparency. It's called sometimes alpha, right? Like that. This is how transparent it is. 1 means it's fully solid. 0 means it's fully transparent. 0.5 it means it's in between. It's half transparent, half solid, right? And that's an optional, by the way. That's an optional argument, right? So there is that. And you can also do the font family. Font family. This is where you say what kind of fonts you do. The main types of fonts are like sans, which is like this. Then there is serif. That's like the main 2 categories of fonts, right? The serif has these little things at the ends of the characters. So if I make this bigger, you may be able to see that, right? You see this little, I don't know, that has a name, I think. I'm not a typographist, if that's a thing. I'm not an expert on type on these fonts. But these little things like protruding or going out of these letters is what makes this a serif font. But we do a sans or sans serif. Sans means without, I believe. You will notice this different. It doesn't have these thingies out of the characters. So I will do that again so you can notice the difference, right? So this serif, this sans. So this is like the 2 main categories of fonts. I think there is also monospace, which looks like that. And then within this, we have different fonts that look like either sans font or a serif font, right? Like we have Arial, is a very popular font. As you can see, it is sans. We have Times News Roman and many other fonts. So there is a set of fonts that are default. They are called like web safe fonts. Web safe fonts. And these fonts are fonts that are called web safe because most browsers and most operating systems will be able to render. In other words, they will be able to show that font, the text using that form. But there is also fonts that you can use, external fonts that you can use, like Google fonts, right? So that's fonts, font size, margin, color. So you also have border. So you can do like border, px. What is px? It's pixel. Solid, and there we go. You will see now we have a border, and we can also give a color for the border. You can have a green border, or you can use RGB again to give a color to this border. Okay. Besides margin, you can also have padding. So margin and padding. What's the difference? Margin is outside. And padding is inside, okay, inside the content, and margin is outside the border. And you will see this clear when I add a padding here. There we go. You see, this creates a space within the border and the content, and the margin creates a space within the border and the outside of the element. Okay? So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Okay, we have some who, like I said, Jesus question, then I asked him, yes, okay, do you have Discord? Did he say anything? No, I don't have Discord. Well, I mean, I have access to Discord, like if you have, I can enter with the web version of Discord if there is any channel, but I don't have like a Discord channel or Discord install as desktop application. So we also have do you have Discord? Mind added me. Yes, I'm using the Atom editor. That's right. Thanks for explaining that, Quickie too. Okay, logic. Okay, I have some comments I missed. Sorry about that. Hey, have logicality. Kind me logic or logis. Okay. Oh, that's your name. Hello. Hello, I'm new to your channel. Welcome. I'm good at Ruby and Lua. Oh, that's good. Does he use Atom? Yes, I do. Mind adding me. Well, I can add you because I don't know. I don't use Discord much. But you can add me to Twitter, and you can join my newsletter if you want to keep up to date. Okay. His person explains CSS. Yes. Okay, I'm so busy doing some other stuff on Lua. What do you do with Lua? L-U-A. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. What are you working on, if you don't mind explaining? I'm working on a processor that uses Lua to convert to Ruby. Oh, that's interesting. Can you tell us more about that? Because that sounds like, I think that's called a transpiler, when you're going to one language to another, right? I believe that's called a transpiler. It's like you're converting the one language to another. Oh, it's for a Minecraft mod. Okay. That's cool. Do you need any help with that, or do you have any questions? Feel free to let us know. Okay. So yeah, let's quickly review the CSS basics. So remember, with CSS, we can give attributes. We can tell this is how things look on a web page. That's what CSS is. And basically, we need to target specific section of the website, like a paragraph, like this, right? And we can give all kinds of attributes, like the font size, margin, padding, color, font family, border. So that's how you basically build your web design, with a combination of HTML, which is the what is in your website, and CSS, which is the how your website looks. It's a combination of these two things for your web design. Okay. And you can, again, we come back to here. We can use inspect element, and we can inspect some of these elements. And also you can change things from here. We can change things. For example, I can change the color of this text. I can say, hey, color, let's say some other color. What's the cadet blue? I don't know. We get this crossover, which means not being used. But I think we do important. Yeah. So here is a thing. Sometimes you have to say this exclamation mark important to have a style apply. Why is that? Because there are different priority levels and rules. So I'm not a CSS expert, but there are things that take priority depending on how you are applying these rules, right? Because you can apply these rules, CSS rules, directly on the element like this. And you can say, okay, I want the font size to be 70, in fact. This will take priority over this called inline CSS. So like this, inline CSS, right? And when you do this, this takes priority over whatever I write in here. So in here I can have 150 font size, but this doesn't take effect because we have inline and this has priority. But if you do important, which a lot of people don't like, but sometimes is necessary, important, this will take priority over inline. So this is like top priority when you use important. That's why it's not a good idea to use it if you can avoid it. But sometimes you need it and that's fine. Okay, so that's inline styling, which has higher priority over this regular styling. Another thing, let me check comments for a moment before I go on. Okay, so we have some comments. I'm looking at comments on another screen. Thanks for watching, by the way. If you're enjoying this, click the like button for me so I know that you like it. And you might want to subscribe to the channel and visit my website, rubyguides.com. So thanks for watching and thanks for commenting. So let's say what we're saying. That's quite interesting. Yes, it is, I know. Can you do a chat application with Ruby on Rails? Yes, you can. You can indeed do a chat application. And there's different ways to do that. If you want to do like a live, where things are just... I'm trying to find the correct word for it. Things are updated as someone posts a new chat message, then you can use something called action cable, right? I think that's the right name for it. This uses something called WebSockets, okay? However, I think that's a bit more complicated and needed in a lot of cases, and you can just implement this with something called polling, or I think it's called long polling or something like that. And this basically, you're using JavaScript to request changes every few seconds. JavaScript request new messages every X seconds. This can be every 5 seconds or every second even, right? The difference, WebSockets send you the changes. Okay, with polling, you're asking for changes, right? So it's different direction of things. That's the main difference. With polling, you're asking for changes, right? You're saying, hey, are there any new messages? With WebSockets, you're saying, okay, send me messages as soon as they're available. So that makes it a bit more live, more faster to receive the changes. But it's also a bit more complicated to maintain, to set up, right? So if you don't really need to have these instant messages, I would just go with polling, which is a lot easier to implement. Okay. So again, that's the difference. Polling, you're asking. WebSockets, you are being told. You are getting notified. Okay. So I hope that's clear enough, and that's how you will implement something like a chat feature in Rails or Ruby. Okay, so we have some more chat messages. Okay, so and thanks for the question, Srinivas Bupala. Hope I pronounced that correctly. So I have Logicality, that's the name of another person in chat. Is I'm using Java, so I can use Lua to convert to Ruby to run Ruby. Well, that's quite a lot of things going on in there, but Yeah, Java, so you can use Lua to convert to Ruby to run Ruby. Okay. Yeah. Bupala, yes, you can. There used to be something called action cable that lets you, yeah, real time. I have logicality. Jesus Castillo, have you ever done a programming language or haven't tried to do one? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I a simple one, but I have done that. In fact, I think you can find my GitHub profile. Okay. It's pretty cool if you want to give this a try, but you will need some basic skills, especially what I was playing earlier, this stream called Parsing. So making a programming language involves a lot of this, a lot of parsing. There is also called a abstract syntax tree. Abstract syntax tree. Often shorten AST like that, right? So parsing involves things like that. It's not something I would recommend a beginner to do, but it's an interesting exercise if you already got the basics down, if you understand some basic regular expressions and things like that. Okay. Okay, what else? I have logical. You mean write his own programming language? Yes. To actually make a processor that uses Lua to convert to Ruby, then I have to make a Lua socket with Lua rocks. I'm reading comments on another screen. First, I will have to make the processor texture. Then I will have to literally write the whole code for the VM and the machine. Then I will have to rewrite the machine. Then I will have to write Ruby compiler. Yeah, if you have to build a Ruby compiler, that's going to be a lot of work. A lot of work. Right? Because Ruby has a lot of kind of rules and stuff. There are things that you can use instead of building a Ruby compiler, right? I think you might want to look something like intermediate languages or something like Rubinius, something like yeah, there are things that you can use instead of straight away trying to build a Ruby compiler, because I think that's massive work. There is also a gem called parse and unparse that you might find helpful. I have logicality. There are gems called parse gem. Maybe you find this helpful for your project. I don't know. So this very helpful, already well maintained and well tested Ruby parser. And there is also something called unparser, which does the opposite of this jam. So maybe you find this helpful. I don't know. So that's called parser. You can find it in GitHub. Okay, so AST, yes. To run Ruby, you can use other interpreters with Ruby. Yes. You can use something like JRuby if you want. You can use JRuby. I have a video on the channel where I explain JRuby if you're not familiar with it. Okay. These are for a newer one called what is called Truffle Ruby. There's also Rubinius and others. Okay. So maybe that helps. Yeah, I was playing with Pax.css for a moment. When you are working your design, one thing I like to do is just change things directly in the browser using this inspector and inspect elements on this panel. And then you can try here very quickly your changes to see what it looks like. And then you can bring the changes. You can copy, like say I want the color or the font size change, right? here we have to do important because the way things are built. Maybe not even that will work. Okay, well, that's kind of strange, but what I mean to say is that you can come here, come up with your roles, your CSS roles or attributes, then you can copy them, literally copy them, and come here into your CSS and paste them. I don't know why I can't do that, but there. Right? That's one thing I like to do. So you can see directly on the browser what your changes look like. Okay. So what else do you have going on in chat? Thanks a lot for participating, by the way. I am completely familiar with Lua. Okay. Suffix. I don't even need to download these files. Okay. I am not familiar with these Lua rocks. Reparser looks interesting. Yes, it's interesting to work with this Lua parser gem. What else we have? I can use an interpreter. I have to make an editing program. Interpreters are useless for this. Okay. I just want Ruby syntax. We're going to compile to machine code. Could try Crystal. I can start with Lua rocks. Crystal. Okay. Package man. Oh. Is it like Ruby gems? Kind of? Maybe? I don't know. Okay, so any questions that you have about CSS, Ruby, whatever, let me know. Let me know in the comments. While you're typing your questions, or if you have some code, even if you have some code you want me to review, and we take a look, because it's very important to have code that's easy to read, easy to change, right? While you type in your questions or you keep chatting, I want to, again, I have to do this for new people that are not familiar, right, with my site and all of that. I have this website called rubyguides.com. Here you will find a lot of content and tutorials. I have my Ruby book. I have a beginner's book, beginner's tutorial. Have the newsletter, which you can find multiple parts of the website. You can click here or here to get to the newsletter. And I also have the channel where you're watching this video right now, okay? And there are over 200 Ruby and Ruby on Rails videos. And all of this talking is making my throat dry and stuff. Yes, kind of Ruby gems, but wrote in Lua. I'm learning Python, learning multitasking, by the way, okay? I don't think multitasking is very effective, but okay, that's good. At least you're being productive, right? So that's good. That's a lot better than watching movies or whatever. So good job there for doing productive stuff, learning and writing code. Okay, so explain that. So that's the basics of CSS. We cover a lot of stuff here. Do you have any topics you want to talk about? Because I'm not following a specific script here. Just going on as I'm thinking, as things are coming up, as I'm thinking them, or as they come up in the chat or whatever. So we cover parsing, we cover the structure of URL, we cover the URI standard library, right, that you can use to parse URLs. This is what I would use in production if you need to parse a URL, because it is more tested and all of that. We cover CSS basics. We explain that HTML is the structure, the content, the what of a website. What goes in the website CSS is the how. How does it look? It's the design, it's the looks, the styling, it's the colors, it's the sizes. And then someone in chat asked about how to build, if you can build a chat in Rails. And the answer is yes. A lot of these questions, I get a lot of these questions. Can't you build X in Ruby? I very often get this question via email, on the chat. I see this question everywhere, and most of the time the answer is yes. Yes, you can build it. Ruby is not limited to a specific thing, or Ruby's general primary language means you can build, while it's specialized in web applications, you can build anything you want. Now, the difficulty of building X, it depends on what X is, right? The difficulty might change depending on what knowledge you have, what experience you have, what background you have, what gems are available, what APIs are available. All of that are taken into account. But generally, the answer is yes, you can build X, whatever X is. You can build chat, you can build Twitter clone, you can build a store, an online store, e-commerce store, you can build a news site, you can build forums, you can build Facebook clone, social media site. You can build backup tools, all kinds of tools. You can build backup tool. You can build a parser, like a log parser was one of the first things I built. First, could say more serious or more helpful things I built was a parser of Apache logs, right? So Apache is a web server, has logs, has lines that have a specific format, and every line contains information. We can probably find an example for you, so you know what I'm talking about. Apache logs. So it looks like this, right? You can parse these lines to extract information, and then you can aggregate the information, which means you're saying, okay, how many requests I got this specific day, this specific IP address, how many requests I got for this specific page. So that's log analyzing. It's very helpful to have a log analyzer, because you can read your logs and find insights and information about your visitors, right? So that's one thing you can build to practice. One of the first more interesting things that I built many years ago, right? I have been programming for 20 plus years. But Ruby is like 7 years now. So like 6 years ago, I built one of these Apache log parser. Basically, what you're doing is what I show you in here. But instead of a URL, you take one of those, then you do an aggregation with a hash or with a database, and then you can show it. You can do a little Sinatra. I did Sinatra interface for this. So you don't know Sinatra? Sinatra is like a smaller little brother. It's like little brother version of Ruby on Rails. Okay? So yeah, so there is that. So yeah, you can build X in Ruby. And for a chat, there are different ways to do it. You can use Action Cable, which uses something called WebSockets. Or you can use something called polling, which means you are asking for changes every X X seconds. And that's, I think, a lot simpler way to do it. So I really like simplicity. Whenever you have multiple options, if you want the safe option, go for the simplest one, the one that requires less pieces, less components, least gems, least things, right? I think that's always the safest option, and the one that you're going to complicate your life the least, right? Is to use the one. I think, in fact, that's something called the Occam razor or something like that. Occam's razor. It's used as a tool for reasoning. I says basically you want to look for the explanation that just makes the fewer assumptions. In this case, I will apply it as just whatever solution has the least components or least setup or least pieces, least gems necessary. And you will find that helpful. You will thank yourself after you do that. Because every time I complicate things, I think part of human nature, we get bored, right? We get bored and we complicate things in purpose, even if we don't notice it. I think that's part of the reason React exists and other frameworks. Because not only because of the hype being associated with Facebook and all of that, and people like to being new in its time, when it was new, people hyped it. Oh, there's this new thing for Facebook. So there is a lot of psychology. Another thing I like to study is psychology. And there's a lot of psychology why things like these front-end frameworks become popular. Some of these things are newness, hype because of the newness, also the authority that's behind Facebook engineering team, right? But the problem with that is Facebook built it for Facebook. And also, if you want my opinion on JavaScript frameworks, I did that in the live stream. I think they are a mess. JavaScript should be on top of your HTML, not replacing it, basically. Right? That's my gist of it. If you want more details, watch my other video. But yeah, back to what I was talking about. Was talking about WebSockets, JavaScript poly. Yes, simplicity. Yeah, keeps things simple. Every time I try to, yes, I was saying. Sorry, I'm just going over what I was talking about before. I was talking about simplicity. Then I mentioned this. And then I went this mini rabbit hole, this thought train. Or boat. You can think as thoughts as boats. Oh, there is this boat passing by, and you get on the boat, and then you get thinking about that until you realize, oh, I'm thinking about this. Is this helpful? Not helpful? Then you can get off the boat and start thinking about that. Many times things we think about are not that helpful, and you can notice that. I find my meditation practice helps with that, with noticing what you're thinking about, because your thoughts are not yourself, right? You're not your thoughts. I don't know if you noticed that ever, but you don't have to believe your thoughts or get involved in your thoughts. They're like, you can think of a little boat that are passing by, or clothes or whatever, and you don't have to get lost. I just get lost in this boat about talking about thoughts. But yeah, that's an example in itself. But I just wanted to mention that because I think it's helpful and very important. So yeah, keep it simple. Just keep things simple, and that will be helpful for you. And part of keeping things simple is to delete things you don't need. So when you create a scaffolding, for example, with Rails, is something called scaffolding. I have a video about that and an article in Rubycats on rubycats.com. Part of keeping things simple is deleting files that you're not going to use. Or sometimes you download like a theme or something like that. It comes with a lot of files. Or maybe you decide to don't use it. Okay? Then delete it. Don't keep it around. Or code that you don't need. Let's say that I no longer want this progress button that I had here. This JavaScript code. Instead of commenting it like that, you can temporarily comment something for debugging purposes or something like that. But if you're done with this, delete it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let it go. Right? Let it go. If you need, for some reason, you need. Very rarely I had to need code I wrote before. Maybe once, twice. You can use Git, version control system. That's why we have something like Git, right? So feel free to delete code, it's fine. In fact, it's good for you, delete code files that you don't need, because I was working with a project in Harriet, which happens very often, right? And it was a mess with lots of files that weren't doing anything. And can I delete this file? I don't know if it's being used. I don't know if it looks like it's not being used, but it's like a duplicate of another file that I know is being used. I don't know. I don't want this file in here. But if I delete it, I might break something. Well, if the other developer did keep his things clean, his project clean, I wouldn't have to be wasting time on this. On looking at these duplicated files, or duplicate code, or commented code, or code that's not commented, not even commented, but it's not being used, like a method, like that's not, it's there but it's not being used. That's really bad. Delete it. Right? So there is that. Okay, so I'm going to take after that little rant, if you can call that a rant, about bad code and extra files that shouldn't be there. I'm going to take a little break. If you want, you can type comments and things like that, and then we come back, see if you have any questions or anything like that, probably wrap up the stream. So we're with. Hey, I'm back. I drink some water because talking a lot, it happens that your throat starts to hurt a bit because dry stuff. So, okay, so we have some more comments as having text coverage is useful. In that case, if you delete something, you can just run your test suite and you can be sure that at least all the main functionality is working. Yes, 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 yes. That's one of the reasons why testing is helpful because it allows you to refactor or improve your code or change your code so you can more safely delete your code. But it gets a bit more complicated when your code is like template files and other files that are not tested as often. Or like JavaScript files, right? I don't know many people that test their JavaScript files. So there is that. And yes, the answer to that question, if you're just coming in, we just went for a long time. We explained a lot of things, but I want to reiterate or mention again that if the question, can you build X in Ruby? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Okay. Scroll up, Jesus Castello. Okay. Okay, what I miss? I don't know where the conversation at. I'm eating while learning Python and writing Ruby. Well, that's a lot of things at the same time, right? By the way, I'm reading comments in another screen. If you don't see me reading comments, yeah, I'm still learning Golang. I keep going back to Ruby because I like its syntax the best. Yes, yes, I really like Ruby syntax. I like Ruby consistency, right? So that's good. That's good. What else we have? What else have missed in the comments? Very effective. Let's talk about Ruby. Did you know Ruby's define function came from Python's def function? Python syntax looks unbalanced because of lack of end markers. Yes, yes. Python does this thing where it looks something like, I think, I haven't done, I did a little bit of Python before I even knew that Ruby existed. And I think it looks something like that, right? Like ABC, then we have a colon, right? And then you have indentation. Let me do this here better. So you have something like this, ABC, if it looks like that, and then you have print with parentheses, which I think Python 3, you have to use this parentheses, and then that's your definition, right? Then you want some other code, it will go here. Like you have like assignment, so it looks kind of like that. Is that right? And then in Ruby, you will have this puts, then you have the end, and the end clearly marks, okay, here is where things end and things start. Let me know if that Python syntax about right. I know, I remember from when I learned little bit of Python back in the day, many years ago. Remember that if you don't have this indentation, then you get a syntax error. So you are like forced to or obliged. I don't know what the right question is, by the syntax itself to have this indentation here. In one part, I feel that helps beginners write use indentation, but I don't think that's really a problem for most people. So a long term, this forced indentation is, yeah, but it's more about having this end, right? Because it says, okay, here's where this starts, this ends. It's more, it's better to the eye. but it's like imbalance. Yeah, that's the word you use, imbalance. You don't see something is missing there, right? Scroll on. You will find my Discord server. Okay. Where is your Discord server? I don't see it. Can you post that again? Kind of miss it. I don't see your Discord server. Okay, so I like how Ruby has end keyword. Yeah, me too. Me too. We syntax was awesome. No, says Kodasik. Hello, Kodasik, if you're still watching. Right away, may provide language name Glove. I can teach you. Okay. What's Glove about? Is it what kind of compile, static typing? Static. Okay, compile language are awesome. Have you heard about Crystal? Has static? Just catching up on the comments. You get the best of both worlds. Okay, yes, having test coverage is useful. RSpec is awesome. I agree. RSpec is indeed awesome. In fact, I have an article if you want to learn RSpec. You can Google for RSpec tutorial. RSpec tutorial. And you can also find it here. I'll post RSpec. This RSpec mocks. And here's the definitive RSpec tutorial with examples. Okay. So that explains this. If you don't know what RSpec is or testing, I think this is a good introduction. I also have a video on the channel named similarly. And then I also have a course that I did here in YouTube Live, but I recorded it and you can purchase it if you want. It's called Ruby to the Workshop. See if we can find it right there. Okay, that's me. If you're wondering what I look like, if you care at all, that's me. And this is the course. So I recorded this last year. I still up to date and covers. It lasts like 2 hours, and I got pretty good feedback about this. So I'm happy about that. Let me give you the link for that if you like. Your purchase supports my work on teaching Ruby and helping others learn Ruby. Okay. Scroll up. Oh, there are more messages on the top. Oh, awesome. I'm gonna listen to music. I don't see the Discord channel. But if you want to post it again, I will be Discord. I will take a look at it. Okay? So any Ruby questions that you have, let me know. I will be happy to answer them. So yeah, I mentioned the Apache logs. That's what we were explaining. Simplicity, keep things simple. I think that's the right Python syntax. And Java, it gets even more complicated, right? In Java, you have to have a class. That's like mandatory, right? Having a class. It has to be like class. Let's see if I remember my Java syntax. Something like, if I don't get it right, well, let me know. Something like class public. Then we can have a name like, I don't know if main is valid. Then you have to have also brackets, and then you have to define your method, which is like int main whatever in I think it's like something like that. And then if you want to print something, you have to like sys out println, and you need to a lot of stuff. Just to do a simple hello world, you need a lot of stuff. In the static or something like that. This not might be exactly correct, but you get the idea. Right? And that's why we love Ruby. One of the reasons I also love Ruby, because Ruby gems, because of all of I mentioned before about the discoverability. That's quite the word of methods, right? You can easily find what methods are available, and methods that make sense to go together, like the min method. None of these method min in JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript, if you go to JavaScript or ES6 version, like ES6 things, something like that, the so-called arrow function, right? It's like a lambda, basically, right? You could say they took this idea from, well, other languages also have lambdas now, like C# and even Java. Modern version of Java also have lambdas now, I believe, right? Now for other versions of JavaScript, something like function, then that, then this, right? And just try to compare syntaxes, since we were talking about syntax before. Okay, have you ever got like a fake owner message from your Discord friends? Like they send you a message with a lot of characters and it says from the creator of Discord. No, I haven't got that. But that doesn't sound like it's, yeah, you say it's a fake owner. No, I haven't got that at all. But I wouldn't click on any things, or I wouldn't do anything they say in this. Well, you already know it's fake, so just ignore it. Or if there's a report option. I don't use Discord much either, but I haven't gotten that. What I have gotten, which is kind of strange, is like messages, like someone sharing like a random file on Google Drive and things like that. But I think that's some kind of bot. Do not trust them. Yeah. Right. I agree. Okay, so I'm mostly down here because I ran out of topics. If you have anything you want to talk about or mention, or questions or chat about, whatever, just mention it. Otherwise, I think I'm going to end the stream for now, because also kind of a little bit tired of talking so much. So there is that. If you want to learn Glow for more about it, then you can enter this course, because YouTube cannot do new lines. Okay. So is this on GitHub or something? I don't think you share a link. If you want to share a link. I don't know if you can even share a links. I think you can share links in YouTube because I tried in other channels and it kind of bans you the link, it removes it. But you can always send it to me on an email or something if you want. Okay? By the way, now that I'm looking, Quickie 2, if you're still watching, have you considered adding a picture, like a profile picture? Because it looks like it looks like you're using the default, like the default picture. It helps make you look more like a real person or more relatable if you have a picture or an avatar picture in your profile. Just mentioning it. If you want to ignore that, that's fine. Okay, so I think I'm done for today. Thank you very much for watching this live stream, for spending some time with me. Yeah, more like a picture that represents you. Yeah. So you don't want a personal picture, you can maybe something related to what you do, what you identify with, right? Can do that too. Okay, so thanks all for watching. If you like this, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can get more so you can get more videos like this and be notified. When are you going to be live? I don't have a schedule right now for going live. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. But if I go live, it's going to be around this time of the day, right? I don't know which days exactly I'm going to be live. Okay? But if you want to make sure to see it, if you hit the notification bell when you subscribe, then you get like a little notification of when I went live, so you don't miss that. Okay? Other than that, you have a lot of content to watch. Have, I think, 200 and something videos. Do you want to play that maybe in the background since you are multitasking? I think it's better to give it full focus if you're trying to learn something. But if you just want some background, that's fine too with me. And if you want some reading, there's also plenty of reading to do on my website, rubyguides.com. Okay? So I'm gonna subscribe. Thank you. That's good. So thanks all for watching. Yeah, subscribe, hit the notification bell, visit my website, can subscribe to the newsletter. I don't post to the newsletter the live streams, but I post other content like new articles on the website, like discounts for my book, which don't happen very often. So if you don't want to miss that, newsletter is the place to be. Also some tips and advice, like learning tips. If you enjoyed the learning tips that I gave today, then that's a good place to be. On the newsletter, I share learning tips, Ruby tips, new articles, right? So that is that. Again, I'm going to say thanks all for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for chatting and interacting with me. Hope you have a great day. Hope you stay safe, you stay healthy. Very important to stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to take care of yourself. If you can keep productive, being productive, that's very important, and learning. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you.